The year is 1378. Decades have passed since the Black Death ravaged Europe, yet its shadow lingers long, a constant reminder of mortality. Within the stone walls of the St. Adrianus Monastery, nestled deep in the Low Countries, Brother Thomas of Kempen sought solace and understanding in the ancient texts of the scriptorium. For years, Thomas had dedicated himself to copying and preserving religious texts. But today, a particular manuscript, one rarely touched, captured his attention. It was a compendium of forgotten lore, its pages filled with arcane symbols and cryptic passages that hinted at knowledge far beyond the realm of Scripture. The fragmented text spoke of the Black Sickness, not as a divine punishment but as a concoction, a disease deliberately wrought. It detailed strange processes, alchemical transformations, and the manipulation of elements, suggesting a terrifying origin for the plague. The implications were staggering. Could the plague, the scourge that had decimated Europe, have been manufactured? And if so, could its secrets be unlocked to prevent such devastation from ever happening again? A dangerous question began to form in Thomas's mind. He delved deeper, poring over the diagrams and alchemical recipes. He knew little of such matters. His expertise lay in scripture and philosophy. But the text hinted at a way to create elixirs, remedies that could counteract the plague's effects. Hope, however faint, flickered within him. He cross-referenced the symbols with other texts in the monastery's library, seeking any clue that could unlock the secrets hidden within the ancient manuscript. The task was daunting, the information fragmented and obscure. He knew he couldn't decipher this alone. He needed guidance, someone with knowledge of alchemy, someone who understood the language of transmutation and the secrets of nature. But who within the confines of his religious life could provide such expertise? Then a name surfaced in his memory, Erasmus Himmelreich, an alchemist who lived in seclusion in a nearby village, a man rumored to possess forbidden knowledge, a man whispered to be a heretic, but he was the only hope. That night Thomas made a decision. He would seek out Erasmus Himmelreich. He carefully concealed the fragmented alchemical text, feeling the weight of the forbidden knowledge against his chest. The path ahead was fraught with danger, but the potential reward, the key to understanding and preventing future plagues, was too great to ignore. Unbeknownst to Thomas, his actions had not gone unnoticed. Sister Agnes of Ghent, a young nun with a keen eye and a compassionate heart, observed him leaving the scriptorium with an air of secrecy. She sensed a change in him, a newfound urgency that troubled her. Agnes, having known Thomas for many years, trusted his good intentions, but his secrecy worried her. She decided to investigate, drawn by a sense of foreboding and a desire to protect him from any potential harm. Entering the scriptorium, Agnes noticed the open manuscript on Thomas's desk and the strange symbols he had been studying. She didn't understand their meaning, but she recognized the alchemical nature of the diagrams. She knew then that Thomas was embarking on a dangerous path, one that could lead him into darkness and potentially endanger them all. The monastery walls receded behind Thomas as he ventured into the world beyond, a world still scarred by the pestilence. The village of Himmelreich, nestled amidst the Flemish countryside, was his destination, the home of Master Erasmus, the alchemist. Erasmus Himmelreich lived on the fringes of Himmelreich, both physically and socially. His reputation preceded him, a brilliant mind, tainted by a past experiment gone awry, now a recluse consumed by his work. Thomas hesitated before the alchemist's door, unsure of what awaited him. He had come seeking knowledge, but also carrying the weight of responsibility and the desperate hope to prevent future suffering. The door creaked open, revealing Erasmus, his eyes like chips of flint, scrutinizing Thomas with an unnerving intensity. "What brings a monk to my door?" he rasped, his voice raspy. "I seek your wisdom, Master Erasmus," Thomas replied, holding out the fragment of parchment. "I believe this knowledge holds the key to understanding the plague, and perhaps preventing its return." Erasmus snatched the parchment, his eyes scanning the archaic script. A flicker of recognition crossed his face, quickly replaced by a mask of indifference. "Foolishness," he declared. "This is dangerous knowledge best left forgotten." "But think of the lives that could be saved, Master Erasmus," Thomas implored. "The plague could return. We must learn from the past to protect the future." Erasmus turned away, his gaze fixed on the flickering flames in the hearth. "I have already unleashed too much upon this world," he murmured, his voice barely audible. "I will not be responsible for another catastrophe." Thomas refused to yield. "But silence will guarantee death, Master Erasmus. The plague does not negotiate, it simply destroys. Surely knowledge, even dangerous knowledge, is better than blind ignorance." Erasmus hesitated, torn between his past failures and the potential to make amends. He looked at Thomas, seeing a reflection of his younger self, filled with idealism and a thirst for knowledge. "Very well," he conceded, his voice weary. "But know this, Brother Thomas, the path we are about to tread is fraught with peril. Some secrets are best left buried." Thomas nodded, accepting the burden of responsibility. "I understand, Master Erasmus. I am prepared to face the consequences." He knew, deep down, that this journey would change him forever. "Then let us begin," Erasmus said, his voice resonating with a newfound purpose. "The answers you seek lie hidden within these pages. But be warned, Brother Thomas, some doors are best left unopened." The Abbey of St. Bavo was a sanctuary of order, a stark contrast to the chaotic world outside. Its gardens, meticulously tended, provided sustenance and solace. Today, however, Brother Thomas's presence seemed to disrupt the peace, his anxiety palpable amidst the rows of lavender and rosemary. Sister Agnes, the Abbey's herbalist, possessed a deep understanding of the natural world. Her knowledge of plants and their properties was invaluable to the community, a skill honed through years of careful observation and study. Agnes had noticed a change in Brother Thomas. The usually diligent monk seemed distracted, his movements hurried and furtive. She couldn't shake the feeling that he was hiding something. He was looking for something specific, a particular herb that Master Erasmus had requested. But the gardens were vast, and his knowledge of botany was limited compared to Sister Agnes's. "Brother Thomas," she said softly, her voice cutting through his frantic search, "is everything all right? You seem troubled." Thomas hesitated, caught between his oath of secrecy to Erasmus and his growing unease. He knew Agnes was perceptive and trustworthy, but could he risk confiding in her? I need your help, Sister Agnes," he finally confessed, his voice barely above a whisper. "I am assisting Master Erasmus with his research." Agnes's initial skepticism was evident in her raised eyebrow. Erasmus Himmelreich was a controversial figure, his alchemical pursuits viewed with suspicion by the Church. "Master Erasmus, what sort of research?" she asked, her voice laced with caution. Thomas recounted his discovery of the alchemical texts and Erasmus's belief that the secrets they held could unlock the mysteries of the plague. He emphasized their shared desire to prevent future outbreaks, painting a picture of hope amidst the devastation. Agnes listened patiently, her initial skepticism slowly giving way to a grudging respect for Thomas's sincerity. She knew the devastation the plague had wrought, and the thought of preventing such horrors again was compelling. "If you are truly seeking to understand the plague," Agnes said, gesturing towards a patch of mugwort, "you must understand the power of nature. Some herbs can heal, others can kill. Knowledge is a double-edged sword, Brother Thomas." With Agnes's cautious support secured, Thomas felt a renewed sense of purpose. He was no longer alone in his quest, and perhaps together they could navigate the perilous path that lay ahead. But the gardens of doubt remained, casting long shadows over their endeavor. Lord Willem van der Leyen, a man whose ambition knew no bounds, surveyed his domain. The Black Death had thinned the ranks of his rivals, and he intended to capitalize on their weakness. Knowledge, he believed, was the ultimate weapon, and he craved it above all else. Rumors, like whispers in the wind, reached Willem's ears, tales of strange experiments conducted in the village of Hemmelrake. The messenger spoke of a reclusive alchemist and a monk from St. Bavo, their activities shrouded in secrecy. Unbeknownst to Erasmus, his every action was being observed. Willem's spies, disguised as common villagers, watched from afar, their eyes missing nothing. Thomas, oblivious to the danger that lurked, continued his collaboration with Erasmus. He carried with him the precious texts, unaware that their secrets were coveted by powerful men. Willem, impatient for results, pressed his spies for more information. He needed to know the nature of their experiments, the secrets they held, and how he could exploit them for his own gain. Sister Agnes, sensing the growing unease in Thomas, watched him with concern. She knew the dangers of unchecked ambition and prayed that their pursuit of knowledge would not lead them down a dark path. "Have you discovered anything of value?" Willem demanded, his grip tightening on the spy's arm. "I will not tolerate incompetence." The tension between Erasmus and Thomas grew. Erasmus, driven by his thirst for knowledge, pushed the boundaries of their experiments, while Thomas, haunted by moral doubts, urged caution. Willem received confirmation of their progress. The spies reported the successful creation of a potent elixir, one rumored to possess remarkable properties. He knew he had to act swiftly. "Thomas, be careful," Agnes pleaded. "This pursuit of knowledge is consuming you. Do not let it blind you to the dangers that lie ahead." Erasmus, too, felt a growing sense of unease. He knew that their work had attracted unwanted attention, and that danger was closing in. "Tonight," Willem declared, "we ride for Hemmelrake. We will secure the alchemist's secrets and ensure that their power belongs to me." The air in Erasmus's laboratory hung thick with the scent of sulfur and arcane herbs. It was a place where the mundane laws of nature seemed to bend, where the earth's secrets were coaxed from their hiding places. The crucible, glowing white-hot, held the promise of transformation, a promise both exhilarating and terrifying. Thomas observed Erasmus's movements with rapt attention, his mind a whirlwind of scholarly curiosity and apprehension. He knew the dangers they courted, the heretical implications of their work, yet the potential to understand the plague, to prevent its return, outweighed his fears. Erasmus, a man weathered by years of experimentation and failure, moved with a practiced grace. Each gesture was precise, each measurement calculated. He was chasing a phantom, a glimpse of divine knowledge hidden within the fabric of the world. A sudden hiss filled the air, followed by a plume of sickly green vapor. Thomas instinctively recoiled, his hand reaching for the rosary at his waist. The line between science and sorcery blurred in that moment, and he wondered if they had crossed it. Erasmus, unfazed by the noxious fumes, waved them away with a dismissive gesture. For him, such occurrences were merely setbacks, temporary obstacles on the path to discovery. "Patience, Thomas," he rasped, his gaze fixed on the crucible. "The secrets of the universe do not yield easily." Hours bled into each other as Thomas meticulously followed Erasmus's instructions, grinding herbs, measuring liquids, and tending to the ever-burning furnace. The repetitive tasks offered a strange form of solace, a way to focus his mind and quell his anxieties. Agnes, drawn by the unusual activity and the strange odors emanating from the laboratory, watched from the doorway. She trusted Thomas's judgment, but a sense of unease gnawed at her. She could not shake the feeling that they were tampering with forces beyond their comprehension. "Look, Thomas," Erasmus exclaimed, his voice filled with an unusual excitement. He held up a small vial filled with a shimmering, clear liquid. The first distillation, the essence of life itself, perhaps. Thomas took the vial, his fingers trembling slightly. He held it up to the light, mesmerized by its clarity. Was this the key to unlocking the mysteries of the plague? Or was it a siren's call, leading them to a dangerous precipice? Their initial triumph was short-lived. A moment of carelessness, a slip of the hand, and the precious liquid spilled across the workbench. Erasmus cursed, his face contorted with frustration and fear. Some materials were volatile, their reactions unpredictable. Agnes, hearing the commotion, rushed into the laboratory, armed with a bucket of water and a clean cloth. Her practical nature and quick thinking often provided a counterbalance to the alchemist's more esoteric pursuits. "Let me help," she said, her voice calm and reassuring. As they cleaned the spilled liquid, Thomas couldn't help but feel a sense of foreboding. The unpredictable nature of alchemy was becoming increasingly clear. They were walking a tightrope, balancing on the edge of discovery and disaster. The crucible of knowledge demanded respect, and the price of failure could be far greater than they imagined. Agnes meticulously translated a passage detailing the spiritus vitae, the supposed essence of life. As she deciphered the words, a chilling realization dawned upon her. The text spoke of manipulating this essence, of creating life through means that bypass divine creation, a blatant contradiction of church doctrine. Thomas, initially skeptical, read the translated passage himself. The implications were undeniable. The alchemical knowledge they sought wasn't merely about curing disease. It challenged the very foundations of their faith. He felt a growing unease, a conflict between his thirst for knowledge and his devotion to God. Erasmus, upon hearing Agnes's and Thomas's apprehension, remained impassive. He knew the path they were treading was fraught with peril, not just from the church, but from the very nature of the knowledge itself. He saw knowledge as a tool, indifferent to morality, its application determined by the wielder. Thomas sought solace in prayer, wrestling with the moral dilemma. Was it right to pursue knowledge that could potentially undermine the church and its teachings? Was their quest driven by genuine compassion or by a hubristic desire to play God? The weight of the decision pressed heavily upon him. Agnes found clarity in the simplicity of the garden. She believed that knowledge, like the plants she nurtured, could be used for good or ill. The key was intention. If their aim was to alleviate suffering and prevent future plagues, then perhaps the risks were justified. But the line was becoming increasingly blurred. Erasmus, unfazed by the moral debate, continued his experiments. He believed that the pursuit of knowledge was its own justification. He had dedicated his life to unraveling the secrets of the universe, and he wouldn't be deterred by religious dogma or ethical concerns. The potential benefits outweighed the risks, in his mind. A heated argument erupted between Thomas and Erasmus. Thomas accused Erasmus of being reckless and disregarding the potential consequences of their actions. Erasmus countered that Thomas was being naive and clinging to outdated beliefs. The conflict between faith and reason reached a boiling point. Agnes stepped in to mediate, reminding them of their shared goal, to understand the plague and prevent future suffering. She argued that they needed to find a way to reconcile their faith with their scientific pursuits. A compromise was essential if they were to continue their work together. Unbeknownst to Thomas, Agnes, and Erasmus, Lord Willem was growing impatient. His spy had informed him of the heretical nature of their research. He saw an opportunity to exploit their knowledge, not just for scientific advancement, but for political gain. He began to formulate a plan to seize control of their alchemical secrets. Thomas returned to the monastery library, seeking answers in the wisdom of the past. He hoped to find guidance on how to navigate the treacherous intersection of faith and knowledge. But the ancient texts offered no easy solutions, only more questions. Agnes confided in Thomas, sharing her fears about the potential consequences of their research. She believed that they were walking a dangerous path, one that could lead to excommunication, imprisonment, or even death. She urged him to proceed with caution and to always consider the ethical implications of their actions. Despite the growing moral complexities and the looming threat of Lord Willem, Erasmus remained steadfast in his pursuit of alchemical knowledge. He believed that the potential rewards outweighed the risks, and he was determined to unlock the secrets of life and death, regardless of the consequences. The shadows of heresy deepened around them, threatening to consume them all. The chill of the morning air bit at Thomas's exposed skin as he fled, Erasmus and Agnes close behind. Lord Willem's men were relentless, their pursuit fueled by greed and ambition. Every rustle of leaves, every snap of a twig sent a jolt of fear through him. The alchemical secrets they guarded were now a burden, a dangerous prize that threatened to consume them all. Erasmus, though aged, possessed a surprising resilience. He knew the land well, the hidden paths and forgotten trails that offered a chance of escape. "Faster," he croaked, his voice raspy from exertion. "We must reach the old mill before nightfall." Agnes, despite her nun's habit, moved with unexpected agility. Her knowledge of herbs and remedies proved invaluable as she tended to Erasmus's scrapes and bruises. "We cannot afford to lose hope," she urged, her voice firm despite the fear that gnawed at her. "Faith will guide us." Lord Willem, consumed by his lust for power, spurred his men onward. "They cannot escape," he roared, his voice echoing across the fields. "The alchemist's secrets will be mine, no matter the cost." Thomas's knowledge of the local area proved to be their salvation. He remembered a hidden passage, a secret known only to a few monks, leading to an abandoned mill. The waterfall concealed the entrance, offering a temporary respite from their pursuers. The old mill, though dilapidated, offered a degree of shelter. Erasmus, ever the pragmatist, began to assess their surroundings. "This place has possibilities," he muttered, his fingers tracing the outlines of the forgotten machinery. "We can use it to our advantage." Agnes, with her gentle hands, cleaned and dressed Erasmus's wounds. Her presence was a balm, a source of comfort in their desperate situation. "We must be prepared to defend ourselves," she said softly, her eyes filled with determination. Willem, his face contorted with rage, reached the waterfall. The hidden passage was a dead end, or so it seemed. "Search every inch," he bellowed, his voice barely audible above the roar of the water. They cannot have vanished into thin air. Thomas, his heart pounding, watched as Willem's men scoured the forest. They were close, too close. One wrong move, one careless sound, and their hiding place would be discovered. Erasmus, with a surge of energy, began to manipulate the mill's machinery. He had a plan, a desperate gamble to distract their pursuers and buy them time to escape. Agnes, her gaze fixed on the surrounding woods, stood guard. She was ready to defend her companions, even if it meant sacrificing her own life. The pursuit had transformed her, revealing a strength she never knew she possessed. A sudden grinding of gears and a loud rushing noise echoed from the mill. Willem's eyes narrowed. "They're still in there," he shouted, pointing towards the mill. "Surround it. No one escapes this time." Lord Willem felt victory within his grasp. The alchemists and their secrets would soon be his, solidifying his power. He could taste the future, a future he would control. Thomas faced Willem, his fear battling with a newfound resolve. He knew the danger they possessed, the knowledge that could corrupt as easily as it could cure. Agnes stood firm, her faith lending her strength. She knew the stakes were higher than personal safety, the fate of many hung in the balance. Erasmus held the vial aloft, the distilled essence of their research. It represented both the pinnacle of their achievement and the abyss of potential destruction. "Enough," Willem boomed. "Give me what you've created. This potion will be mine. I will decide how to utilize it for the betterment of my people." Erasmus replied, "Betterment, or dominion, Lord Willem. This is not a simple remedy for the plague. This knowledge can amplify both the best and worst of humanity. Imagine this potion falling into the wrong hands. Can you envision the chaos that this potion can unleash upon the world, Lord?" Thomas interjected, "It is too dangerous for any one man to wield. The knowledge, the potential, it must be controlled, understood, before it can be unleashed. For now it can only destroy." "We sought to understand, to heal," Agnes said, her gaze unwavering. "Not to grant power to those who would abuse it. There is no room for abuse when lives are at stake." Willem's control snapped. "You dare defy me. This is my land and you will obey. Guards, seize them, take the potion. It is mine by right." Erasmus ignored Willem's order. His voice echoed through the courtyard. "Then I will ensure that it harms no one." With a swift motion, Erasmus hurled the vial to the ground. The courtyard was filled with a brilliant flash of light, followed by a cloud of vapor that dissipated quickly. The alchemical secret was gone, returned to the ether from whence it came. The choice had been made. Knowledge, however potent, could not be entrusted to those who sought only to control. The price of discovery had been paid. The secrets are lost, for now. The immediate threat of Lord Willem had passed, but the knowledge they now possessed cast a long shadow. Thomas returned to the monastery, finding solace in the simple rhythms of monastic life. The seeds he planted in the garden mirrored the hope he held for the future, a future where knowledge might heal, not destroy. Agnes dedicated herself to understanding the alchemical texts, seeking to translate their knowledge into practical remedies for the sick. The weight of their secret pressed upon her, the realization that their discoveries could be both a blessing and a curse. Erasmus, haunted by his past, decided to dismantle his laboratory, scattering his notes and implements. The alchemist's pursuit had taken too great a toll. He sought solace in obscurity, hoping to bury the dangerous knowledge he had unearthed. Lord Willem, though thwarted, was far from defeated. He knew that the alchemical knowledge remained, a potential weapon or tool. His ambition, fueled by a thirst for power, drove him to seek out other sources of forbidden wisdom. Thomas, burdened by the alchemical knowledge, chose a path of healing. He focused on transcribing and preserving existing medical texts, hoping to provide practical aid to the suffering without venturing into dangerous territory. Agnes dedicated herself to the care of the sick and the poor, using her knowledge of herbs and remedies to alleviate suffering. She became a beacon of hope in a world still scarred by the plague, proving that even small acts of kindness could make a difference. Erasmus retreated into solitude, wrestling with the ethical implications of his research. He wondered if the pursuit of knowledge was worth the potential cost, if humanity was ready to wield such power responsibly. The rain mirrored the tears he could not shed. Driven by his relentless ambition, Lord Willem sought out clandestine societies rumored to possess forbidden knowledge. He believed that the key to power lay in unlocking the secrets that others feared to touch. The seeds of future conflict were being sown in the shadows. Thomas knew that the alchemical knowledge could not remain hidden forever. The question was not if it would be rediscovered, but when, and by whom. He prayed that humanity would be ready to wield such power responsibly. Agnes documented their journey, preserving the alchemical knowledge along with a detailed account of the ethical dilemmas they faced. She hoped that future generations might learn from their mistakes and choose a wiser path. Though he had tried to bury his past, Erasmus found himself drawn back to the alchemical arts. A small experiment, a harmless curiosity, he told himself. But the lure of forbidden knowledge was a powerful force, one that was difficult to resist entirely. Lord Willem surveyed his lands, his ambition undimmed. He knew that the pursuit of knowledge was a dangerous game, but one he was willing to play. The future remained uncertain, but one thing was clear. The seeds of a new dawn, whether of enlightenment or destruction, had been sown.